It's your brother Yahawashi, all right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakah HaKwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone. I want to say Shalawam to all the brothers, and of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity, all right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. This lesson won't be long. I just want to make a point on the usual culprits, all right? When I say the usual culprits, I'm talking about the people who are causing discord in the earth. People that are causing friction in the earth. You get to the root of why everything's thrown off. You get to the root of, how do things become this way? Why are people struggling to live and enjoy the earth the way it was intended? Get to the root of the problem. It's always the usual suspects. So I want to go and talk about Cain, all right? Cain, who was the first murderer. He was a murderer from the beginning, right? His descendants were the first creators, of weaponry, so to speak. And we're gonna get that in Genesis, the 4th chapter, and how today, if you can receive it, the spirit that was in Cain is the same spirit that's in Esau, and his descendants, all right, the usual culprits, are causing friction in the earth, conflict in the earth. Okay, the usual culprits. All right, so I want to run this clip for you guys. This Edomite was just, looking into the history of the world wars, and he was like, damn. And it's a short insert of the full video. And he was looking into the history of the world wars, and how it's the banks that funded these wars. And he kind of went into the bells. And if you don't know about how there used to be bells in most major cities back in time, there would be bells that had healing properties to them. In certain hospitals there used to be bells, and people would do sound therapy and things like this. And if you care to look into that, you can. But the point he made is how that it was those world wars were funded and used as a tool to cause what? Friction in the earth, take more control from the people. Esau always uses chaos to strip more liberty from the people, to amass more control. He always uses chaos, and he's about to introduce a lot of chaos, the most chaos he's ever tried to introduce, and it's by way of the Lord ultimately. But he's about to use chaos, conflict, and destruction to try to take complete control over the people on his last hoorah before the Lord gets him out of here. So I'm gonna run this clip, and then we'll get the precept proving my point, and that'll be it. Like I said, this video, it won't be long. Let's make this full screen for you all, and let's take a listen.
You want to know how deep I've gone down rabbit holes? I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world, and that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, and
a lot of history of who the actual children of Israel are, going back before World War I. You go to cities like Istanbul, different places in Europe, there's a bunch of, there was a bunch of proof of, who the actual descendants of Jacob were. Okay, and that also played a part in where certain battles took place, and certain things had to, be completely demolished. So I can interrupt it. I'm gonna let it run all the way through. Let's let it run all the way through. Let me start it from the beginning. There you go.
You want to know how deep I've gone down rabbit holes? I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world, and that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells. If you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces, and the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and all the architecture was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country, knowing that all of them would want to go to war.
All right, so we go to Genesis 4:22. All right, it's going down to Cain's line. going off from Lamech, going on. Let's go to 22. It says, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Now, let's look up that word artificer here. It says a metal craftsman, a fabricator or mechanic artificer. So from Cain's line, who, one that he killed his brother, the murderer, they developed weaponry. And that played a big part in a lot of, the BS that was probably going on in Noah's time. So the Lord was like, I'm just going to reset this place. In our time, a lot of the same kind of BS is going on, man. A lot of the same kind of BS is going on. So the Lord, what is he doing? Inquisition is being made of this man once more. It's being revealed that he's the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And this devil, the usual culprit, he's up again to his same old tricks. And to call this man out in this day is getting ready to be something that is of the highest form of treason. Calling Esau out, it's not about to be pretty to be an Israelite. So if you're serious about this thing, be prepared in the spirit, to be, they might come snatch you up because of what you believe if you're a teacher. Are you prepared just to lean on the Lord and have faith and be like, hey, man, I'm not attached to this life anyway. It is what it is. Or are you going to try to cling to this life? Again, bro, Jake don't all really, a lot of people, I just have this feeling that a lot of our people don't really get what they're a part of. Us believing what we believe and standing on it, especially if you're a brother that's teaching, you're getting ready to be deemed a treasonous, which they're not going to try. They're going to justify putting you to death. They're going to justify shipping you off, locking you up. They're going to justify a lot of BS that they want to do to you based off of what we believe, bro. And the people that are not serious, man, when they see the reality of that, they're gonna fold. So pray that the Lord don't take the spirit from you. Pray that the Lord, endows you in the spirit, man, to hold fast, to let no man take thy crown. The men that follow suit and see this thing through, you're gonna rule the earth alongside Yahawashi. With that being said, bro, that's a heavy position. That's the heaviest position anybody could have. It's the most prestigious thing ever that we're doing, right? So with that being said, there is a price that comes with it. It ain't just something that's, you're gonna have to put something on the line for this. And every brother's test is gonna look different from brother to brother, from sister to sister. Well, understand you about to be tested like you've never been tested. But if the Lord put that on your plate, it's because he's endowed you to pass that test if you lean on him. If you're leaning on Yahawashi and you having faith in him, whatever test he put in front of you, it's been given to you to pass that test. And that's a beautiful mindset to have, man, when you're confronted with, particular situations, when you're confronted with adversity, to understand that, hey, if this is on my plate, it's because the Lord, he put it on me to pass this test. As long as I keep my faith in him and trust him, we're going to get through this. All right? So Abba Rataza, the lesson was edifying. Like I said, it wasn't going to be long. I'm going to run this clip one more time, and then we'll close out.
You want to know how deep I've gone down rabbit holes? I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world. And that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells. If you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces and the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and all of the architecture was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry. And it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country, knowing that all of them would want to go to war.
And when you listen to the, like, you know, with the technology now, a lot of this technology gets used against Esau for what he intended it. He's like, oh, now they wanted to be used for that. But they translate a lot of Hitler's speeches, and I don't give a shit about Hitler, right? But they translate a lot of his speeches, and he was basically going into the fact of, hey, because the only nation prior to World War II really popping off that would take the small hats in, because they were part of a big revolt in Russia. They were trying to kill the Tsar. So Germany took the small hats in. Small hats got into banking, and they basically undermined the country. Germany then became the epicenter in the world for pornography and transgenderism was heavy in Germany, you know, before Hitler came in, before that party came in, and they were speaking against it. They were like, hey, this is not Germans' morale. This is not our, you know, this is not what we were about. But these people, they've come into our country and they push this on our children. We got to reverse this. That's what Hitler, and that's why people were getting behind him in Germany so much. And even if you look into the history of Germany, the original Germans, and the elder you call, you know, he has ties to Germany, and I forgot the name of the king that he was mentioning to me. And I'm pretty sure if he sees this, he'll bring it up to me. I might even have to make a lesson on it. But the original Germans, you know, they were Israelites. They go back to, you know, scattered Israelites. But, you know, they had set up shop over there in that area of the world. And in Germany, you know, a lot of the citizens, they know that. They know the history. But, you know, being an American, so to speak, we're so-called Americans, right? You don't get the real history, man. That's why we got to filter everything through the scriptures. But when you go to other countries, if you compare an American textbook that you had in school and a textbook in a country, you know, in Russia or, you know, Eastern Europe, textbooks from other countries, there's different information that you'll run across, and you'll be like, oh shit, I didn't know that. But the highest form of truth that you could get is through the scriptures, and we're able to discern between the lie and the truth through prophecy, through what the book says, you know. But yeah, man, it's the usual culprits. When you look at all the fucked up shit that's going on throughout the world history, it's the usual culprits that have a tie that's at the center of the problem. It's just the truth, and the Lord designed them to be the problem. You know, the Lord, like the scripture saying, Proverbs, what is it? The Lord created all things for himself, yet even the wicked for the day of evil. Let's get that real quick and I'll close out. It's in Proverbs, I believe. Yep, Proverbs 16:4. That's what I thought it was. It's Proverbs 16:4. It says, the Lord hath made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So it was written in their story to be the problem. And, you know, it's just being identified in this time, like it was spoken of in 2nd Esdras. They're the wicked. It's being put out there on a large scale, and not just from the province. Even, you know, people of his own tongue is falling upon himself. You got even lower level Edomites like this guy. You might be an Edomite, you know, I can't say by complexion because a lot of Israelites get simple too on that. But this guy that looks like an Edomite, he's bringing out information. Hey, man, these people they have wicked motives. Don't say. All right, let's get that one precept in 2nd Esdras real quick. 2nd Esdras 6th chapter 18th verse. I'll start there. 2nd Esdras 6 and 18. Okay, it reads, and it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. Where in this place, especially in America, It's record numbers of chariot sightings all over the world, but especially here in Babylon the Great, where the bulk of the nation of Israel is. Record numbers of chariot sightings. All right? It says, and behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. And I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. The wicked. Inquisition is being made of this man. And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. Now let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2. All right. 2 Thessalonians, and this is Paul. He's speaking to the church of Thessalonica. All right. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. This that happened. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. The man of sin in our time is being revealed. Verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. Check this out, verse 7. He said, for the mystery of iniquity is sin upon sin. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Now, during Paul's time, who was ruling? The Romans, who were Edomites. So he was saying the mystery of iniquity doth already work. He was giving them a hint to the fact that, hey, the man of sin is already right now in power. You're looking at him. All right, verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. All right, when he comes back with that fathership and burns his place to pieces, and all the nations and their armies. 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter, gets real detailed on that. Okay. Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, that concentrated fire from the chariots. Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. So this man's coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness. The word devil means deceiver. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. A lot of people are getting roped up into this devil's spell. They're under a deep spell. But the elect of the nation of Israel, we've broken out of that spell. We've been able to see. And the brother, Worthy Freedom, man, you must be new, but with Great Millstone, man, we on the comment board, you know, you can make a comment here and there, but we try to keep it to precepts. You go, you know, if any man speak, let him speak as the ability that God gives. That's First Peter 4 and 11. So, you know, just have order on the comment board. Just a little order, not, you know, you ain't saying nothing wrong, it don't seem. But, you know, it's just conduct that we have. Because if you go on another brother comment board, he might really get on your ass. You know, I'm more, I'm more, you know, patient. All right. But, you know, just try to put precepts. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9, once more. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. So there's a nation of people upon the earth who their coming is after the working of Satan. Their whole purpose here is to push evil. Who might that be? If you had to line up all the nations and a lineup, you know how they do in the detective movies, they got a lineup. Who's the one pushing evil on the earth? We lined up all the nations. Pick him out of a lineup. You got to pick Esau, Edom. Who else could it be? And it's more specifically, the chief tribe of Amalek, the small hats, the people masquerading as the people of the Lord. All right, verse 11. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion, that they shall believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. You clung into this place's way. You worshipped the image of the beast. The philosophies that this devil pushes you worship the image. You see, there's a difference between the image of the beast itself, the conglomerate of nations, and the mark of the beast, which is going to be the RFID chip, that chip that you need to function within the beast society. The Purple Rangers don't break that down. They they mix the image of the beast itself, and the mark. They kind of mix them like they are the same thing. They're different things. Fuck. But you know, as people with fringes on, that's a part of this scripture that we're reading here too. That 2 Thessalonians 2, 11 and 12. They under a spell. They know the Israelites, but they half awake. They're not all the way up. You know, they still got a little spell on them. They still a little bit sleepy. They nodding off, you know. So they can be lied to about what the mark is. They can be lied to about particular things. But hey, blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear. You've been thoroughly warned, and you know what it is, and you know what to stand up against. It's a lot of people that even got fringes on their shirts, bro. They don't know what to resist. They know they're Israelite, but that's as far as it go. They don't know what the fight is really about. They don't know what to be looking for. They don't know they don't know the prophecies, how they're actually going to play out. They don't know. So they're not even fully equipped for this spiritual fight that we're about to be in. They don't have the full armor of God. They don't got the name. They don't know what the mark is. It's just things they don't know. They don't understand the significance and importance of faith. They don't understand that they're going to be put in situations that seemingly are impossible to get out of, but the Lord requires for them to have faith to get out of it. He's going to make a way. They don't understand these things. So they're going to lose. Don't be a part of that number, man. So Abba Rataza, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, or Hahakwadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Want to say Shalawam to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalawam.